56 days of hand reading right here. And as you can see on the screen, we are doing the villains range today. This is the hand that we did yesterday when we were in the big blind. Let's move on to some small blind action now. And we'll take a look at some various hands here. We're looking for action on different streets now. We are trying to range the villain, so we want to see actions where, without a doubt, he is making some bets, maybe some calls, maybe even some raises against us. Maybe if we find a bet/call kind of hand, we might go through those. So once again, it's a mystery to us. I don't know whether or not I won these hands. Don't know what my hold cards are. All that information is over here to the far right. So I am not going to know. Let's see here. I call, I bet, I bet. So he just calls on 2 streets. Check call, bet call. Oh, look at that. This is interesting. I call preflop. I check raise. I bet, I bet. So we get to figure out maybe what he's calling us with. He's playing a bit passively on each street. Check, and then I call. So he gets aggressive, but then I bet. Let's see here. We'll think about this hand for a sec. There's a bet, bet, bet. I don't see anything. I have it filtered for river actions. So river calls. I don't see any river calls. So I'm not facing any river bets at least. So yeah, let's just go with this first hand. We'll check it out. All right, so I don't know who the villain's going to be here. 877-36467. And the date was 6/6, June 6th. My brother's birthday, actually. Nice. I played some poker instead of celebrating it with him this year. No, he was probably out of town anyway. So let's see here. We've got a loose aggressive player. Why not me opening? I decide to call. Oh, get a third caller too. So actually, let's see who the villain's going to be. Oh, Swoozy's the villain. Okay, cool. Because we're just doing a single, single villain. I don't want to try to range both villains in this instance. I mean, we could do stuff like that, but nah. No need, especially when he's going to end up folding. If we see a 3-way showdown, that could be a different story. That's an interesting. I'm going to make a note of that. 3-way showdown, ranging both villains at once. 3-way showdown, baby. Okay, cool. Made a note. So in this instance, of course, with this hand, we are in the small blind. In small blind, call button open and BB overcalls. Okay, cool. So let's see what we know first. Okay, first off, this is a loose aggressive player, only 19 hands, so I can't put. I actually, as a 56-22, I can put quite a bit of stock into this. He likes to raise a lot, likes to call a lot. He's got a really wide range for stealing right here, so I'm probably calling decently wide. We have a very loose passive player, so if I call here, I can expect a call. So, like, I wouldn't be calling with pocket 10s or pocket 9s, really. I think I'd be 3-betting here with those kinds of hands, because I don't really want to go 3-way to the flop with 9s or 10s. You know, I think 9s are better. I'd be 3-betting to isolate this guy who's very loose passive, even though he has position on me. I just don't want another player with a hand like that. But I could be calling with tons of suited connectors, suited gappers, suited aces, suited kings. So I have a pretty wide calling range here. So let's just assign my range because, like I said, you know, you can see on the screen right there, we are ranging the villain today. So let's just give me a suited gapper, Jack 9 suited, to start with. Excuse me. Now, this guy's super loose passive, and he decides to just call after us. Great. Wow. I mean, he's super loose passive. He's getting such good. What is it? It only costs him 45 cents to win 210. Yeah, he's calling a really wide range here, guaranteed. I mean, I don't even know if he's even 3-betting these kinds of hands. He's so loose passive. These are definitely in his calling range here. Queens. Don't really know about the guy. Let's give him those as a 3-bet hand. Let's give him that as a 3-bet hand. He's calling these. Okay, queens are better. Are his only 3-betting hands. We can limit some of these. I don't want to put every single suited connector in. No, people play 9-5 Dolly Parton for sure. They do. Suited 10s. Okay, let's go with that now. These offsuit stuffs. Yep, let's say he calls those, maybe not all the queens. Yeah, I'm good with this. I mean, it's a 56, well, let's take this away, Jack 9 suited. It's a 56% range, 748 combos. So he has a very wide overcalling range, being a super loose passive player to begin with, and then having such a big discount, 56.4, having such a big discount on his call, 748 combos. Great. So if we do have the Jack 9 suited, the suited gapper here, he does have a ton of pocket pairs, which currently beat us. He has all these aces, these queens, these kings, these queens that currently beat us. So our hand doesn't fare all that well, but it is a suited like gapper, whereas he has all this offsuit kind of junky stuff, and then he has all these weaker suited hands that we currently do beat. So as you can see, we're a slight dog, 49 to 51 in this hand currently. Let's see what happens on the flop. King 10-5, all diamonds, fun stuff. I'm hoping these are actually diamonds, but I won't change that. I selected that ahead of time, so let's just see what happens here. I check, and a tiny little min raise, and then a call. Okay, so this tiny min raise, it could mean a lot of different things here. He could be just any random diamond, any king, any 10, any 5 even, just throwing out the tiny little weak bluff trying to get others to fold on a scary board. So I can't put hardly any credit behind this right here. But I check raise. I check raise 6x, which seems like a lot, but when you look at the size of that pot, I am giving him really good odds to continue here. So my guess is I basically want him to continue. My guess is I did flop the jack high flush or even the ace high flush. Maybe I called with like ace 7 of diamonds or something, you know. So I'm making a bet because I want value is my guess here. Good, he called and he folds. Okay, great. So what is limp calling in this instance versus a rather smallish bet? So he's calling with all of his draws. Let's see here. Limp and then calling. What's the stack? 28 full stacks behind. After his call, we have 535 in the pot, so we have 5x. It would be really tough at this point if he does have the nut flush, for example. He would probably re-raise here, at least small, to start building the pot a little bit more. So let's not put... yeah, let's do this. Let's take the straight flushes out. Now these flushes here, you know, seeing how passive he is, and he is in position, he could min bet call at least one street just to slow play us, to give us a chance to bet big on the turn, and then he can come in for a raise. So let's keep all the flushes in his limp calling range, or min bet calling range. Sets are in there as well. He doesn't necessarily, he's so passive, he's probably waiting for a full house before he gets aggressive with those. 2 pair hands, I can see them, min bet and calling for sure. He doesn't have any overpairs, no. Top pair hands, min bet calling. I can see all those min bet calling for sure. The flush draws, yep, min bet calling there. No flush draw. Oh, a top pair hand with no, yeah, those can all min bet call. But that's all, that's included here. If I unclick those, it's still, all the top pairs are included right now. Pocket pair below top pair, the jacks. He can probably do it for one street right here. Just not thinking that we have a king, maybe we have a diamond, we're raising, and he can control the pot. Maybe he thinks he can control the pot by being in position. So min bet calling. Middle pairs, he's so loose passive, he might do it for one street, hoping that we give up on the turn. Those weak pairs, all those random 5s and those under pairs. What is his? We don't see any c-bet stats. What about fold to c-bet here? Whoops, wrong one. Fold to c. Yeah, we haven't seen any fold to bet in position, turn and river, but nothing versus c-bets yet. So we can't exactly see how flop honest he is. Not that this is a c-bet, but the fold to c-bet stat and the c-bet stat in general, those help me to kind of determine how honest they are on the various streets right there. Weak pairs, we're going to keep them in for one street. He's a passive fish, but we just don't know enough to remove those just yet. But let's take out, we won't include the ace highs, the no made hands. Nut flush draws, yep. Any weak flush draw, we can say he's going to stay in for one street at least. Open ender, queen jacks right there. Yeah, he might stay in and just ditch when a 4th diamond comes. Gut shots. Let's not say, well, no, let's not say. Some of those are still included. Ace queen stuff, jack, ace jack. Those are still included with the other stuff that we did. So let's keep that out. So we are going to narrow him down just a little bit, not big time, but a little bit. 427, 72.5%. All right. So if we do have the Jack Nine, I mean, we're a big time dog. We have no kind of draw other than, or not no kind of draw. We have a very weak gut shot, a low-ended gut shot draw. Just not a great draw. Even if we hit a Jack or a 9, we're not happy with a King and a 10 on the board. We have 22%, but I'm hoping we actually have these right here, you know. But we'll see. Ooh, the deuce of diamonds comes. That's lovely. So as we saw, we put every single, before that card came, we had every single possible flush draw in his range. Now when that deuce of diamonds comes, his range jumps up to 89%. 90% of the time, his range is going to hit because he had all of those flush draws in his range. So let's see what the action is here. I decide to bet just half pot this time. Still feels like I'm going for value. And he just calls, okay, I'm really thinking I actually have the ace of diamonds, whatever. Ace 4, something like that. Yeah, ace 4. So I'm going for value. What is he calling on this super scary board right here? What's he calling? 267, it puts 10 bucks in the pot, 26 behind. If he has the nut flush, he's raising at this point. He is not just calling. He has loose passive without the nuts. He might just be calling, worried that we have the ace of diamonds. So we can say he's calling the second, calling the third, calling the fourth. Weak flushes, what are those? Oh, all those tiny little 6 high flushes. Yep, he's calling with them. 3 of a kind, he hasn't hit a full house yet. Totally calling here. 2 pairs, yeah, hoping for the full house. He's calling. It's only a half pot bet. There's still 28 behind, 25 behind in my stack, 24 behind to win. He's totally calling with those right there. But I don't think he's calling with no flush draw and no draw, which is just like just all your random stuff that hit weak pairs and stuff. On the 4th diamond, he's not calling with those. Yeah, he's super loose passive, but that doesn't mean he's calling with just a random 10 on 2 streets right here. Yep, so we're going to narrow him down even more. This is great. Less than half of his flop range calls on this turn. Oops, wrong button. 187 combos, 45.1%. 187? Oh, what a coincidence. Oh, everyone's favorite number. 187. So, other than 420, I guess maybe that's everyone else's favorite number. Let's see here. So if we do have the Jack 9, we've got, oh man, what a terrible hand. We have 4% equity. We should be probably checking behind or checking on this river. 7 of spades comes. Doesn't help anybody. Doesn't do anything to anything. Whoops. And, well, you can see basically if we have the Jack 9, we're only Jack high right here. We could bet to bluff, but he called. He's a super loose passive guy. He's called flop, turn, and river on this board. Oh, I'm sorry. Pre-flop, flop, and then turn with this board right here. No, he's not giving up on the 7 unless I decide to shove as a bluff if I do have the Jack 9. But my guess is I have the nut flush and I'm just going for value. 534. So betting half pot again, probably banking on the fact that he's calling with any 2-pair hand. He's probably giving up all of his top pair stuff. He's probably got 2-pair or better in this instance on this 7 of spades river. So let's see. I think he's calling those. Nut flush, he would be. We don't have any in his range. If he had the nut flush, he would definitely be raising here. And I really think I'm only betting on the nut flush. I mean, I can give myself the ace 4 diamonds, like I said before. He's calling with the 3rd, calling with the 4th, calling with all weak flushes. He's calling with his sets because he doesn't want to be bluffed off of if I just have a 2-pair kind of a hand. Let's see his 2 pairs. I really doubt he's calling all of these 2 pairs for a 3rd street. He's calling all his king because it's a top pair, 2-pair hand. 10 deuce and 10-5. Let's say he's not calling with those. I mean, that's all that we can eliminate from his range. Right here, the guy's so loose passive. I really think I am strictly betting for value. I am not trying to get him to fold. I do not have a Jack 9. I've got the ace high flush right here. So we actually only eliminated just hardly anything from his range, which is fine, 97%, which is fine because we're basically just going for value. He probably has a flush here. I could possibly eliminate all the 2 pairs, but he's been passive calling with 2-pair up until now. He'll call this river with 2-pair again if he thinks he has any chance of winning and I'm bluffing. So yeah, we'll go ahead and keep those in right there. 178 combos, just flipping those 2 numbers. Yep, we got to say that's his range right here. This is what we're betting into. So, and this is all the stuff that he's continuing with. So I have to only be value betting here. If I am bluffing, it is a huge mistake on this board, especially with just half pot. Again, he called the half pot on the turn. He's going to call a half pot on the river. If I'm bluffing, I need to make it 3/4, full pot, pot and a quarter, whatever. It needs to be a higher bet. So let's see what happens. Oh, second nut flush. Oh, and he had the Jack 9 suited. Okay, great. Well, that's good. He had the third, what is it, third nut flush? Jack 9? Yep, good. So he had the Jack 9 suited. We ranged him properly. And we did a good job by betting for value. I think because he did not raise on the turn, not automatically, but I assumed, and probably assumed correctly, that he does not have any ace of diamonds in his range. He would have raised that turn to get max value out of us. His calling meant he had something worse than my flush, which was great. I bet again, got more value. Now, if we think about it, he has the third nut flush, right? He might have folded to a full pot size bet, but I bet I could have bet $7, maybe even $8 and gotten a call out of the guy. Maybe even full pot and gotten it. It's very possible because he is so loose passive. He has a third nut flush. Maybe he's hoping that I flopped a set of fives and check raise on the flop and then just didn't complete by the river. I think I could have bet at least $7 or $8 to get more value out of the guy. So that's a good thing to know right there. Let's make a note. Cash. No, it's not much of a note to make. This is how all loose passive players play. They're willing to call all streets with a third nut flush right there. Yeah, so I don't need to make a note. He's just a loose passive guy. That's how they all play. Alrighty, y'all. Thank you very much for joining me on day 23. For day 24, I am going to try that. I'm going to do a 3-way showdown, and I'm going to range 2 villains at once. Yeah, I'll just try to range 2 villains at once in a 3-way showdown, along with myself. I might as well do a hero V range analysis next time. Alrighty, y'all. Take care.